In this daily drop, we're going to talk a little bit about this particular fixture here, the Epos 300 from Kelvin, what happens to correlated color temperature when you dim the fixture all the way down, and we'll geek out a little bit about LED light technology as well. So let's go. All right, everybody, here we are with now another episode of the Daily Drop, and I want to get back to one of my favorite subjects, which is lighting. And I've been using now this Epos 300 from Kelvin for a while, and I'm pretty blown away by the quality of light that it produces. I've actually been using it as the main key through an Octa 3 from DOP Choice for most of the recent episodes that I've been shooting. And it's just rock solid in terms of color temperature, so on and so forth. And I also love these little magnetic modifiers here. This is the dome one, which is spreading the light 180 degrees. I'm using it in this softbox here, which you can't see, but what it really does is it eliminates those hot spots in that type of light fixture. Push that through, magic cloth, Bob's your uncle. When I first started using RGB LEDs, it was really in a very different context. We were in a world where we had daylight LEDs for production that were getting pretty decent. There were also some bicolor units coming out that were giving us basically the ability to tune, and not in terms of color like hue, saturation, intensity, but we could get those different correlated color temperatures, white light going from basically a candle light to a daylight color temperature. If you look inside of this array, on this chip on board, it is very, very different. This is something called RGB ACL, red, green, blue, amber, cyan, lime. There are also RGB WW fixtures out there that are quite popular, where you have a red, a green, and a blue LED, and then you basically have two blue LEDs, and they have phosphor in front of them. So there's this compound, and it gets excited by the blue LED, and depending on what kind of phosphor is in front of the LED, you get a particular color temperature. And in fact, that goes way back to when we started using daylight-based LEDs. You had a blue emitter, and then you had phosphor, and then we started to get bicolor, so you had a blue emitter and different types of phosphor to give you different correlated color temperatures. You get the basic idea. So RGB ACL, red, green, blue, amber, cyan, lime, kind of blows my mind because there are no white LEDs. There's no phosphor in front of the LED emitters that's creating the white light. It's the combination of those 6 colors that's giving you that white light. And of course, hue, saturation, intensity, so you get all of the 360-degree hue colors, all of that stuff. Okay. What I'm interested in 95 to 99% of the time is white light, and how accurate that is and how I can use it in production. Because most of the time, what we're doing is we are shooting people. We've got people in the frame, and we want to make sure that they are being captured accurately in terms of white light, regardless of the correlated color temperature. And this has a huge range. I mean, you can go all the way up to 20,000 Kelvin. And quite honestly, when you get towards the end of the day and at certain times of day, it's not always daylight at 5,600 or 6,000 Kelvin. It can go all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin and above. So it's great to have a fixture that can do that kind of stuff. Okay, I digress. Let's talk about this. I've got a C-800 color meter here from Sekonic, and I'm going to turn that on. I've also got my app set up here, the Kelvin Narrator app, so I can turn this off. And you may notice I don't have a kicker here. I don't want that to get in the way of the readings of what I'm going to talk about right now. Okay, but I am just going to reach down here because I have the controller. This is the light, by the way, at 0.1 intensity. So you can change the color temperature of this light, which is set to 5,600 Kelvin right now, in 20 Kelvin increments. And you can also increase the light in 1/10 of a percentage point. So this is 0.1, that's 0.9%, and there's 1% output with the light. With no diffuser, no modifier, obviously. So just keep that in mind. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reach over. Wait, hold on. My mistake. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to take a reading here. And I'm set to 5600 Kelvin. And this is reading 5586. So extremely accurate in terms of Kelvin temperature. And again, I have this fixture at 1%. If you're interested, the camera is set at 800 ISO. I'm at a 2.8, just to give you that idea. It's daylight balanced. All right, so this is basically within 14 Kelvin, reading at 5600 Kelvin, 5586. All right, so that's that reading at 1%. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off this key, and we're going to take a reading at a much higher percentage intensity of this fixture right here. So maybe I'll start with 25%. Let's just dial that in. I'll turn this on. Whoa, that's all the way up here, 25%. Boom, there we go. Let's go ahead and turn off this key. You should still see some exposure. I'm definitely getting way too much exposure here. And okay, there we go. All right. So at 25%, 5592. So we're talking 6 Kelvin difference between 1% and 25%. And that's pretty impressive. Okay. So 1%, 25%, 6 Kelvin difference. Let's go ahead and do the 100%. It's going to blow out this image completely, but I'm going to kill the key, turn this on, take a reading, come back, and let's see what we've got. Boom. 100% coming up. Whew. There we go. Definitely need a modifier on that. And let's take that reading. Okay. Sorry about that. Wow. Intense. 100%, 5576 Kelvin. I don't know what else to say. It is a heck of a fixture in terms of what it can do, the quality of light it produces, and just seeing those Kelvin temperature readings off of this C-800 with that very small jump between 125 and 100%, it's very impressive. So I don't do reviews, but this kind of stuff to me is real world. It means something when you're in production. Don't forget to, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.